Welcome to the Two Random Podcast. Tired of subscribing to 100 different podcasts?
Yeah.
SirXpress and ISpeakMotivate eliminate boredom while giving you their commentary on breaking news, movies, music, and so much more.
Going down, man.
Subscribe today and rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts now.
I always follow them.
Random is the only solution. Two Random Podcast starts in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome.
Hello. This is ISpeakMotivate.
And I'm SirXpress.
And today we're going to talk about a special player power forwarding himself in another position in life.
I like how you did that.
You do?
Yes, we're talking about a future Hall of Famer, 5-time champion, and one of the greatest power forwards to ever play the game.
That ever did it.
We are talking about Mr. Tim
Duncan.
Yes. Now, it's a big twist from what I'm seeing. Like, this man is going from being a player to now switching to the coaching side of things. And from what I am reading on ESPN.go, we are seeing that Popovich is stating it's only fitting that after I served loyally for 19 years as Tim Duncan's assistant, that he returns the favor. Popovich was stated in his release on the announcement. What do you feel about that?
Well, I think it's hilarious that Pop did a little joke in there. It's like, look, I was putting time in on you. It's time for you to return this favor here.
Right. And I think it's pretty funny because I was like, dang, Pop always trying to throw a joke and stuff. So I just feel like they've always had a great relationship to be able to even say something like that.
Great chemistry.
Exactly. So I feel like at the end of the day, this is going to be a great move for the Spurs because with the fundamentals that Tim Duncan can bring, it just works perfectly to give them the assistance that they need for their system.
And you know what? I just wanted to bring out a few facts that kind of represents how strong of an assistant coach he will be. So I'm getting these facts from FoxSports.com, you guys. And the first fact is that Tim Duncan won Rookie of the Year with the Spurs in 1998. He also won Rookie of the Month every single month during that season. And this just shows to me that he starts with a bang.
Yes.
And for me, when it comes to him being an assistant coach, he will be able to see those new players, see their individual gifts, and make them Rookie of the Year, Rookie of the Month. Like his nickname, Mr. Fundamental, or Big Fundamental, or The Fundamental. He will let these players know the fundamentals in order to soar so that these young men can not only meet his stats, but also surpass them so they can have a great team dynamic and have confidence going on the court because they have someone that has played the game professionally and not that late. 2016 is when he retired. Right. So that's not even such a far cry from when his sneakers barely left the court. Right. So at this point, it's just going to be a great experience for me.
And speaking of his retirement, when he retired as one of 3 players in NBA history with over 1,000 career wins. Nobody for real can say that except him and a select other few. What is your thoughts on that being, that he started great and it looks like he finished great?
For me, it's consistency. He is consistent. And that's why he got those 5 NBA titles there. It's because he is consistent. He makes sure he plays very well. He is making sure that his team are in great chemistry, has a great synergy on this court. And for me, this is another good indicator for an assistant coach, because it's like, okay, we have a record. I've done it this way. And as a player, he'll have a mind of a player. And learning from Pop, he'll start having that mind of a coach. But like you were saying, on the sidelines, he would coach his teammates and speak with Pop during there. So he was already an assistant coach in the making, or an intern, as you would say. So it's just a very interesting take, as well as he's the only player in the NBA history to win 1,000 games with one team.
Like, nobody can say that. Not even Kobe Bryant.
And so what this shares to me is that as a coach, he will have longevity with the team. The young men will be able to get used to him, and they'll have a great culture on the team.
Right.
He'll get to know each of the guys individually, and also he already knows Pop really well, but they'll get to know each other on that coach level,
exactly,
and the office level. So that'll be very interesting, as well as he can cultivate team members, team players there that have longevity on the team to create a legacy of other, I want to say mini Tim Duncans. Not many Tim Duncans, but prodigies of the legacy of being a franchise player and having longevity. Exactly. So that's another thing he can bring to the table during draft, picking people there.
Teaching fundamentals.
Yes, honey.
So, yeah, that definitely would be something I can see him bringing as a coach. Not only that, but he and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar are the only players in NBA history with 26,000 points, 15,000 rebounds, and 3,000 blocks. Nobody else can say that. Who else? Not even Shaq could say that. That's big.
And that's the thing. His resume speaks for itself. And he will be able to implement, be like, oh, hold your arm this way. Just little things like that. Because he was a player and not so long ago. I think that's the importance of it. He was just on the court. And then his stats as well. And I feel like he'll be able to speak with the guys on a level they'll understand. Because he's just recently barely removed from being a player, so he will have that insight than someone that hasn't been on the court in 40, 30, 50 years or what have you. They will have that insight in a player mind, and I think he's like a hybrid, like an electric car and the gas. You have the best of both worlds. The gas runs out, you have the electric. So I feel like he's gonna bring that to the table. Or even like we were talking about Blade, he was half immortal and half human. So is Tim Duncan going to be the new Blade of the NBA?
Half coach, half player?
Half coach, half player. And that's what's going to make the Spurs a great team to definitely look out for.
Yes, and not only did Duncan win the 5 titles, but he and John Sally are the only players in NBA history to win titles in 3 different decades. So like you said, with the longevity, 3 different decades, that's amazing. Who else can say that they did that? He literally went from 98 and retired just in 2016.
Exactly. And the thing is that shows his timelessness. Imagine how many players he had to rotate with 19 years and still getting those wins, those titles. It's going to be a different chemistry, every few seasons, every season they're recruiting new people, but you're still able to put those wins on the board, put those points on the board, So that's important. That means he's adaptable, which is so important. And he has so much wisdom. That's another thing. He has so much wisdom that he can impart into those young men that are going to be on the Spurs team.
Right.
Now, another thing. His 251 playoff games is second most all time, behind only Derek Fisher. Now, what do you think about that?
I think that's really good because Derek Fisher was a great player. And for him to do that as a power forward, Derek Fisher was a point guard. So you can see that happening for him a little bit faster than for a power forward, because at the end of the day, if you surrounding a power forward with players, it's going to be harder to, make a team based off of that. But when you got a point guard, the one that's demanding everything, he's kind of like the quarterback of the NBA, the point guard. So he's the one that tells everybody where to go, how to get there, when to be there, right? So in that situation, by him having that ability to teach at the power forward position, it really makes it so good for him in his coaching, which I feel like they might be really good this year, the Spurs.
Yes. I mean, there's so many other facts that we like to discuss, like he remains the first and only NBA player to average at least 13 points and 9 rebounds at the age of 38 or older. It's just showing the fact that as he ages, he just gets better with time, and he's still putting in that work, as well as he'll be able to execute and show the young men the technique, not just tell them, but be able to show them the technique on the court, as well as Duncan is only one of only 5 players to ever win 3 NBA Finals MVPs, joining Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, and LeBron James. Sorry, you guys.
So, all these points from what we talked about, I feel like this was a great move by Pop, and I really feel like he's trying to make Duncan the new coach of the Spurs.
Yes, put him in the legacy up there. And then just let's talk about the NBA Final MVPs. 3-time MVP from the NBA Finals. To me, that's important because he can create MVPs.
At the biggest times.
At the biggest time. And another thing is that when it comes to these great things here, he can also create a great trio.
Exactly.
Because when Duncan and the Spurs beat Oklahoma City in Game 2 of the 2014 Western Conference Finals, he, Manu Ginobili, and Tony Parker set an NBA record for most playoff wins by one trio in NBA history. Their 111 broke a record held by Magic Johnson, Michael Cooper, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So he'll be able to pick that pick three there. That is going to catapult the Spurs and be able to brand
back to the
them.
Old times of winning.
So,
because since he's retired, they haven't really made the playoffs that often. So, I can't wait to see what they do. Can't wait to see how many games they win. But guys, we love you guys. We thank you for joining us once again. Thank you for joining us. This is our 19th episode, guys. So we just thank you guys. We love you.
And we do have the follow-up questions now. We can't forget about that. Now do you agree that he is even an assistant coach? Why would he be a good coach, or why would he not be a good coach? And what would be your pick for the assistant coach for the Spurs? Let us know in the comments below and give us facts to put that in the backlogs there. So thank you for choosing
to listen to us. Have a wonderful day, guys. Love you.
Love you.